Hello aspirants, I welcome you all to editorial analysis of Shankar IAS Academy. Today's date is 18th of February 2025. Displayed here are the list of articles that we are going to discuss today. In this first article, we'll be discussing about whether quota or reservation should be given to minorities in our country. Here the article specifically talks about Muslims. And in the second article, we'll be discussing in detail about what is constitutional morality and what are all the judgments that has mentioned about the constitutional morality. Both the articles are very important from the mains perspective. Let us see them one by one. Now look at this article from the text and context page of Hindu newspaper. This article talks about constitutional morality. So let us see them. What does it mean from the mains perspective? So let's start with what is meant by constitutional morality. See, it is nothing but adhering to the principles and values that has been mentioned in our constitution. So we have a lot of principles and fair application of it. For example, we have justice, we have equality, fraternity, liberty in our preamble as well as in our constitution under various articles. So complying to that from both the government side as well as from the citizen side. So compliance is what this constitutional morality is all about. So moving on, we shall see about the key aspects of this constitutional morality when it comes to our particular country, India. The first thing is we have rule of law, meaning we'll be operating only within the constitutional framework. So already we have all the principles in the constitution. So we are actually operating within the legal framework of the constitution, and that is what we call it as rule of law. And the second important thing is we have democratic value, democratic in the sense of the people, by the people and for the people. So it is formed by the people and it is formed for the people and it is formed of people or the representatives from the people. Okay, that is what democracy actually mean. So we uphold democracy as well as we uphold secularism. When we talk about secularism, we don't follow the Western secularism. We have our own kind of secularism in which we give equal respect to all the religion, which is a very positive aspect of Indian constitution. Then we also have a justice, meaning we provide social justice irrespective of caste, creed, as well as religion. Now the third important thing is protection of right. We ensure equal protection of right even to enemy citizens. Okay, so there is freedom of speech only for the citizens of our country. Then non-discrimination, this is also only for the citizens of our country. Then we have institutional integrity, meaning we have strengthened our judiciary and we have strengthened our legislative as well as executives. So we have actually worked on our framework year on year. We have rectified all the mistakes that has been done in the past and we are working it a little more better. Now the fifth thing that you have to remember is tolerance and pluralism. So India is actually composed of diverse of ethnicity as well as culture. So we respect all the things through we give a diverse view on everything. So we have actually have pluralism, which is actually the strength of our country. And finally we have judicial interpretation, which is always progressive. So if there is any particular thing that is put forward by legislature, it is checked by our judiciary. So there is equal checks and balances and it is actually right oriented law interpretation. So remember all these are key aspects of constitutional morality. Now moving on, we shall see about certain provisions. For example, we have fundamental rights in part 3. We have article 14, equality before law. Article 19, freedom of speech and expression. Article 21, right to life and personal liberty. It includes privacy as well as autonomy. And Article 25 to 28, freedom of religion. And we have Sabrimala case. So all these fundamental rights actually have, it is not like absolute thing. It has reasonable restrictions. Remember all these. Now moving on, we have DPSP, certain articles, Article 38, social, economic and political justice, Article 39A, equal access to justice, Article 44, UCC. Currently, Uttarakhand has UCC. Apart from Uttarakhand, Goa has UCC. Apart from this, we have preamble. We have mentioned values like sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic as well as republic. We have mentioned about the principles like justice, liberty, equality and fraternity. And we have a separation of power under Article 50. This is a very important preliminary question asked very recently. So this provides for a separation of power when it comes to judiciary's independence as well as the executives. And we have Article 32 and 226. So Article 32 is fundamental right, but Article 226, it is related to the High Court, and both articles actually talks about judicial review. Now, talking about the amendments and social justice, see, under Article 368, in the particular case here mentioned 1973 Keshwananda Bharati case, they have mentioned about the basic structure of constitution. So until then, there was no such a thing called basic structure of constitution. So there was a very big debate whether to whether there is a power for the parliament to amend the fundamental right or not. Until then, it was said that parliament has the power to amend even the fundamental right, but only in 1973 Supreme Court clarified that parliament can amend any particular provision, but it should not undermine, or it should not be null and void when it comes to the basic structure of the constitution. So this is a very important judgment that you have to remember. Now, apart from that, we have some social justice provisions. For example, Article 15 clause 3, Article 15 clause 4, affirmative actions for women, scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. So this is like positive discrimination. Then we have Article 17, abolishing untouchability. Then we have Article 330 and 332, reservation in legislation for marginalized groups. Now, moving on, we shall see about constitutional morality as a dangerous tool. So far, we saw about the positive aspects of it. Now, we shall see some of the negative aspects of it. So, the first important thing is the judicial overreach. See, we call a particular case as a judicial overreach because in that particular case, the judiciary will be stepping in and they will be taking up the role of the executive. So, what does executives do? They actually frame the law, right? So, instead of executives doing that, if the judiciary itself does that, then we will call it as judicial overreach. A very good example for that is this Navtej Singh Johar case of 2018. This particular case actually talks about section 377, decriminalization of this. In this particular case, Supreme Court, they directly struck down this particular thing, which actually led to the judicial overreach in terms of acquiring the powers from executives. Now, the second important thing is subjectivity. So, there is actually lack of proper definition that is leading to inconsistent rulings. So, when there is lack of definition, the particular thing will be itself subjective to each person. So, the concept entirely, the constitutional morality entirely differs from person to person. That subjectivity is the very big challenge. Now, the third important thing is undermining constitutional will. For example, overrides majoritarian decision, especially in the Sabrimala case of 2018. This case favored women's side and it led to a widespread debate. And the fourth important thing is arbitrary use. It will be used selectively in certain cases, which is a very big issue. And finally, we have potential misuse by state. See, the state, by using this constitutional morality, they can even suppress or they can even curtail the free right to speech or expression. Even it can happen when it comes to dissent. So this is what when we talk about the constitutional morality as a dangerous tool. So far we saw about what is constitutional morality, then we saw what are all the positive aspects of the constitutional morality, then we saw about what are all the negative aspects of it. So with these learned points, now let us move on to the next news article discussion. Now look at this article. This article talks about providing reservation to the minority population, especially in India. We are talking about Muslims. So this article decodes whether giving reservation for them will promote their development. So we shall see them from the mains perspective. Before that, I have a mains question for you. Let me read out the question. The demand for Muslim reservation in India is rooted in socio-economic backwardness rather than religious identity. Discuss in the light of the findings of the Sachar Committee and Ranganath Mishra Commission reports. So this is actually a 15-marker question for 250 words. You can write an answer and post it in the comment section so that we can review your answer as well as your peers can review it. So let's start with what is the population of Muslims in our country. See, when we talk about the Muslim population, they are minorities, meaning like 14.2% are Muslims, remaining 85.8% are composed of different religions, including majority Hindus. So when we talk about the highest Muslim population, UP is the very highest state. This is as per 2011 census, remember that. Then comes the West Bengal, then comes the Bihar. So when we talk about the highest Muslim percentage, it is very high in Jammu and Kashmir, then comes Assam and West Bengal. Remember this. Now moving on, we shall see about the constitutional and legal framework for reservation. See, this is talking in general. We have Article 15, Clause 4. This Article 15 talks about discriminating a person based on like non-discriminating a person based on caste, sex or creed. So this has special provisions for socially and economically backward class, especially in education. Then we have Article 16, Clause 4, job reservation for them. Then we have Article 340, under which President he can form a committee. A first formed committee is this Kaka Kalekal Commission, and we have Mandal Commission. This is for the backward classes. Then we have Article 342A, under which a recent amendment in 2018 has been made, 102nd amendment. Remember this, suddenly UPSC might ask a question like, what is 102nd amendment? Okay, so under this particular amendment, President can specify SEBCs for state and UTs. So under this particular amendment only, a uniform central list of caste has been formed. Remember all these. Moving on, we shall see about the criteria for SEBCs, socially and economically backward classes identification. So when we talk about social, it is like historical discrimination and limited mobility. Limited mobility in the sense social mobility. And we have education, very low literacy and high dropout rates. When we talk about economy, we have low income and informal jobs. These are the criteria for SEBC. Now moving on, we shall see about the committee and report on Muslim backwardness. See, when we talk about the Sachar Committee in 2006, this particular commission has examined the social, economical and education status of all the Muslim community. So they have found out the very low literacy as well as high dropout rates, and nearly 4% of Muslim in higher education compared to 7% for scheduled caste as well as scheduled tribes. And they have highest poverty and limited formal employment, and they have poor public service representation. For example, 5% in government jobs and only 14% population share. So all these has led to the recommendation that they have to be provided with more proper education, more infrastructure should be given, more scholarship should be given, and more economic support should be given. So moving on, we shall talk about Ranganath Mishra Commission. So here the spelling is written wrong. So this particular commission also went for examining the status of the religious as well as linguistic minorities, and they have found that minorities in general have social and economical backwardness on par with scheduled caste or scheduled tribes, and higher poverty and low formal sector employment is there. So they have recommended for 10% reservation for Muslims in government job and education, 6% additional quota in states where they are already OBC, and recognized Dalit Muslims under scheduled caste category and equal opportunity for the people. However, there are certain judicial stands on the Muslim reservation. For example, we have the Indira Savani case of 1992. They have said that reservation can be done only based on social and educational backwardness and not religion. And the second important judgment is this PA Inamdar case of 2005. In this particular case also, the court has said that there is no religion based reservation. And in the third important case is this Calcutta High Court case 2003. They have actually struck down West Bengal's government's action, where the government has announced a certain minority community under OBC classification. They have said that religion could not be a ground for classifying a particular community. So this is very important case that you have to remember. Now, talking about the challenges in Muslim reservation, first thing is legal issue. We have the constitution does not recognize providing concession based on religion. This is the first important legal violation. Secondly, we have diversity in community. However, when we talk about Muslim groups, they are not homogeneous. They are homogeneous. They are not heterogeneous, and they have different socio-economic statuses, and everything should be properly utilized. And the third important thing is the political and administrative hurdle. So if we bring in a lot of classification and subclassification, then it can lead to a lot of confusion and a lot of reservation issue, which leads to stammering of the running of administration itself. So these are all certain challenges that you have to remember. So here comes the question, what can be done? See, the first important thing is investing on the public infrastructure. Here the article talks about investing on schools, roads, and as well as healthcare, especially on the Muslim concentrated areas. Second important thing is education and economy. For this, we can expand the scholarship, we can bring in a lot of skill training, and we can bring in self-employment programs even in the madrasas. And we have government initiatives, and this can promote pre as well as post metric scholarships. And we have a Maulana Azad fellowship under which stipend is given, and we have PM's 15-point program for minority welfare as well. So all these are there, which must be properly utilized and properly disseminated in order to get aware of the programs in the first place. Secondly, we have to build in a lot of accessibility, and for that we have to bring in infrastructure. So far we have seen whether reservation for the Muslims should be given or not. According to Supreme Court, we cannot classify or give reservation based on religion. So these are all the points that we have discussed so far. So with this, we came to the end of the news article discussion. If you like the video, hit like, do comment, and don't forget to subscribe to Shankar IAS Academy YouTube channel. Now, thank you so much for listening.